Islam, here. Congratulations, you did it. The 17th straight win. It was a tough fight to get there, but how good do you feel right now, having accomplished what no one else in the history of our sport has ever done before?
I feel happy. Thank you so much. Feel happy. Hard fight. It's good fight. Good opponent. And now it's no more Anderson Silva. Islam Makhachev record. I like this. Prat is still fighting because Morales also is good, but Morales fight, I don't know last time, I don't remember when he fight, you know. If you ask like who's the most deserved the guy, I think Carlos Prates.
Islam. And still alhamdulillah. Bomba. Starszy, alhamdulillah.
Dana, very good, interesting, tactical main event between Islam and Ian Machado. Gary, Ian showed great defensive work. Islam showed that he was strong either against the bigger guy. Give us your thoughts on the main event and how it played out.
What did you say? He was what?
Stronger and...
Let me read. They have this thing like AI doing it for me now. Machado, Ian showed great defensive work. Islam showed that he was strong even against the bigger guy. Give your thoughts on the main event and how it played out.
When I hear it back, it sounds like a bad question. Not repeat it back to me.
Not a bad question. I think that, this is my honest opinion on it. I felt like tonight was...
I mean, it was a difficult fight. Although he won by, a good margin, a healthy margin, there was moments where you're used to Islam having a certain amount of control and dominance that he just didn't seem to have over the bigger guys. And this is the question. As he's moved up to 170, there's some guys like Morales that are absolutely gigantic. And what happens if he fights those guys? The gap is bigger than it is with Ian Gary. Ian, again, out of the 10 victories that he's had inside the octagon, he's only had 3 stoppages. Morales.
I felt like tonight was set up for the upset. I felt like the upset could happen tonight with so much on the line, all the records that Islam has, and he's going to break Anderson Silva's record. There's weight classes for a reason. Ian Gary is a big, rangy, strong guy who has great takedown defense. I mean, if you look at his takedown defense tonight against Islam, it was impressive. I think that Ian is a talented guy. If he had even an ounce of killer instinct in that 5th round, he had been beating him to the body. Islam's whole, I think, right side was beat up. His face was beat up. You don't come out and hug and shake hands in the fight. That shit drives me fucking crazy when there's so much at stake. And there's also, a lot of mental, gamesmanship, whatever you want to call it in this game. You come out in that 5th round with a flying knee or something crazy and you try to finish the fight. I think that this is one of those fights that Ian will go back and watch and say, fuck, wish I could do that over again. If he came out and tried to destroy and win that last round, with everything that he had, I think it's a totally different fight. Islam went out, it's the complete opposite now. Against a bigger, strong, rangy guy who has good takedown defense, controlled him, shut him down. I don't know if he was in his head and Ian felt like he had to come out and shake hands in the 5th round or whatever, but, Islam did exactly what he needed to do to win that fight. When I went in after the fight and Ian Gary came over and shook my hand, Ian Gary's handshake is like a fucking vice grip, and he is a big, powerful, rangy guy. And, for Islam to go in and do what he did to him tonight, physical and mental. If you'd have come out of that fucking corner like a raging fucking bull, we might be having a different conversation right now.
Do you feel like Ian's too nice to his opponents? At the press conference, he wanted to build Islam up. He's been nice about him all week.
I think that Ian's a classy guy is what I think. And, he always shows class. He did, before the fight, he goes over and shakes, all the corners' hands and all that stuff. It's great. But when that fucking bell rings, you got to switch. You got to switch all that shit off and go. And you definitely got to do it in the 5th round after he fought a great fight against Islam, who, everybody in this room and everybody else is saying, well, we might start talking about GOAT. You don't go shake the fucking GOAT's hand going into the 5th round. You come out to fucking annihilate him. I mean, that just has to be your mindset. In my humble opinion.
Islam Makhachev just made history. 17 consecutive victories. That's one more than Anderson Silva's previous record of 16 straight wins, a benchmark that stood for over a decade. At UFC 330 in Philadelphia, Makhachev retained his welterweight title against Ian Machado Gary in a decision that sparked immediate debate across the MMA community. Before we discuss the controversy, we need to understand what actually happened mechanically inside that octagon over 5 rounds. This fight represented one of the most interesting welterweight matchups in recent memory, a direct clash between 2 opposing pressure systems. Makhachev came in as the smaller fighter at 170 pounds, but with a wrestling-first approach and a mastered rhythm for controlling space. Gary presented a rare counterpoint, a 6'3" welterweight with rangy limb positioning, excellent takedown defense, and an angular striking base. On paper, this was supposed to be one of the most competitive tests of Makhachev's reign. The core issue that emerged in the first round was distance management. Makhachev's entire fighting system depends on his ability to dictate range through footwork, feints, and pressure. Gary's reach advantage created a problem. Islam couldn't establish his typical rhythm immediately. His go-to-distance control sequences, the slide back, the lateral movement, the threat of the level change, all require him to be relatively close to his opponent. Gary's length kept Islam at an uncomfortable range for nearly 2 minutes of round 1. What became immediately apparent was that Gary had studied the blueprint. His defense was structured around keeping Islam at distance while maintaining his own striking opportunities. He wasn't trying to close the distance. He wasn't trying to create scrambles. Instead, Gary adopted a patient stance, using his jab to establish range and his lead leg as a secondary distance control tool. This was a conscious game plan: wait for Islam to commit, then make him miss and make him pay. By the second round, Makhachev began establishing his clinch sequences more consistently. Every takedown setup Islam uses follows the same architectural pattern. He closes the gap with pressure, establishes a tie-up at the collar or underhook position, and then uses that connection point to dictate body positioning. Against Gary, this process took longer because of the reach disadvantage, but once the clinch was established, Islam controlled the exchanges completely. Gary's takedown defense proved solid, but it was reactive rather than proactive. In round 2, approximately 90 seconds in, Islam threw a head kick. This was significant not because of its damage output, but because it represented Islam's first real opportunity to catch Gary in a vulnerable transition. The head kick landed, Gary went down, and Islam immediately transitioned into a head-end arm throw. This sequence lasted maybe 30 seconds, Islam's only moment of clear offensive success in the entire fight. Then the control re-established itself. Patient, mechanical, methodical. After that head kick sequence, Islam resumed his distance control pattern. What's crucial to understand is that Makhachev wasn't necessarily throwing volume, he was managing space and creating threat scenarios. Every time Gary attempted to establish his jab or move laterally, Islam was either sliding out or creating a level change threat. The goal wasn't to land strikes. The goal was to make Gary uncomfortable enough that he'd have to engage in a way that benefited Islam. This is where understanding Makhachev's system becomes essential. Islam operates on a specific rhythm: advance slowly, feint consistently, threaten the takedown on reaction, then reset distance. He repeats this pattern dozens of times per round, and most opponents eventually break under the repetition. Gary, to his credit, resisted breaking for 3 rounds. He maintained his composure, his defensive structure stayed intact, and his takedown defense remained solid. By round 3, a subtle shift occurred. Islam's pressure, while not overwhelming, had accumulated. Gary's movement became slightly more conservative. His shot selection narrowed. He stopped taking calculated risks with his striking combinations. This is the Makhachev effect. He doesn't knock people out, doesn't cause massive damage, but creates an environment where his opponent becomes progressively more cautious. Multiple analysts pointed out after the fight that Gary's right side showed visible wear by the later rounds. This damage wasn't from devastating body shots. It was accumulated clinch work and positional pressure. When Islam controls you against the cage, he's not throwing wild strikes. He's applying sustained pressure, threading in short ground and pound, and working positioning. over 20 minutes. This creates cumulative damage that doesn't look explosive but compounds significantly. What's important to note is that Gary's takedown defense, while solid, was entirely reactive. He defended takedowns when Islam committed to them. He didn't establish superior positioning or create his own offensive threats on the mat. This is a critical distinction. Defending takedowns and controlling the wrestling engagement are two different skill sets. Gary did one but not the other. By round 4, the fight had taken on a clear pattern. Islam would advance, probe with feints, initiate a clinch sequence, and either work inside or reset. Gary would defend, create distance, and attempt to land his jab or lead leg kick. Neither fighter was taking massive risks. Neither fighter was attempting to dramatically change the fight's trajectory. The round itself was largely a repeat of the previous 2 rounds, with Makhachev maintaining slight control through positional management.